look forward to seeing your company next time on The Chase Australia.
Sydney snubbed. Queensland opens its borders to everyone but us tonight. The tourism industry calls it a monumental kick in the teeth. Millions still barred from the Sunshine State, even as Sydney records no new COVID community cases. Horrific terrorism in France, 3 killed, a beheading inside a church. AMP, once one of our biggest companies, now facing foreign takeover and being broken up. Taser takedown, a chaotic peak hour North Shore police chase. The hidden extra toll on Sydney's missing link, North Connects, finally opens a few hours from now. Starved of sunlight, the new health alert for millions of Australian women, and Origin tension, a warning shot from Queensland as the Blues protect Nathan Cleary.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Michael Usher.
Good evening. 5 million Sydneysiders will remain banned from entering Queensland despite another day of zero community COVID transmission. On the eve of an election, the decision has angered many, with even the boss of Qantas weighing in, after the airline was forced to delay plans to bring hundreds of employees back to work.
As Queensland's would-be premiers faced off in an election eve debate, Anastasia Palaszczuk had already laid out the boundaries.
Greater Sydney will remain closed to Queensland.
The rest of New South Wales will be allowed in from 1 a.m. Tuesday. The backtrack blamed on 4 locally acquired cases here yesterday, all from the same family, and prompting a deep cleaning today at this Leppington gym.
So I was ready to make that decision, and then I saw that 4 new cases that came from an unknown source, and that changed.
We have an aspiration that families can be reunited around Christmas time.
Thousands of planned flights now cancelled, countless passengers having to rebook, and hundreds of furloughed staff to remain stood down. From a blunt Alan Joyce, frankly, this is ridiculous. Compare this to the far more rational approach of Tasmania, Northern Territory and South Australia.
This whole entire arrangement is complete bullshit.
Look, I'm disappointed. There's no reason why New South Wales residents shouldn't be allowed in every part of Australia, frankly.
But we are getting closer. From Western Australia today, a big change of heart. The state will reopen on November 14, but for anyone from Victoria or New South Wales, there's a catch.
Self-quarantine for 14 days in a suitable premise and present for a COVID-19 test on day 11.
Ironically, both announcements came on a day New South Wales recorded no community transmission. But a late-breaking case to be included in tomorrow's count is a child who caught COVID from a known case at a Preston's trampoline park last weekend. That should bolster our case. This won't. A New South Wales police officer and close contact self-quarantining and being tested for COVID after the constable entered the room of a returned traveller in quarantine at the Meriton. 7 News understands the officer recognised an international celebrity at check-in and went to the room to introduce himself and say that he was a fan. A colleague reported the breach. Lebanese actor Nicholas Mouad confirming he's leaving quarantine today. Meanwhile, after 120 days straight of standing on this same podium and dealing with his own hotel quarantine debacle,
I will not see you tomorrow.
The Victorian Premier is taking a day off.
And I'm sure you're all very pleased to hear that news.
Amelia Brace, 7 News.
The French president has vowed his nation will not give up on its values after a horrific beheading attack left 3 dead in Nice. The terrorist targeted people at a Catholic church just as Mass was beginning.
Moving in and opening fire. Police stormed the Nice Cathedral, ending another terror attack. Inside, a scene described as a vision of horror. An elderly woman partially decapitated, the devoted church warden also killed, 45-year-old Vincent Law. Another woman was brutally attacked. She made it outside to seek help, but died in a nearby cafe. This famed Riviera city, once again, in a state of panic. The alleged attacker, a 21-year-old Tunisian, Brahim Ayassoui, who arrived in Europe just weeks ago, still alive in hospital.
There is no doubt what was behind the motives of the assailant, who didn't stop repeating Allahu Akbar, even as he was being treated by paramedics at the scene.
Heavily armed police flooded Nice, and across the country the alert level was raised to the highest possible. Local Muslims said they were revolted. The president said France had been attacked and Catholics targeted.
The entire nation stands by their side and will continue to, so that religion can be practiced freely in our country.
It's 2 weeks since schoolteacher Samuel Paddy was beheaded, seemingly retribution for showing students a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad.
Overnight, I had the opportunity to exchange messages with President Macron. He texts back to me, "We will win."
Tensions between France and the broader Muslim world have been escalating after Emmanuel Macron vowed to eradicate what he describes as Islamist extremism, saying he wants to liberate French Muslims from foreign influences. His country once again shaken. In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
Shares in scandal-plagued AMP soared today with the shock news the disgraced wealth manager is on the verge of a big buyout. With billions in Australian super, AMP is now being targeted by a US giant.
AMP, 171 years old, but it's the last two that no one will forget. Headline act at the Banking Royal Commission.
Unlawful and ethically and morally wrong.
The disgrace over fees for no service and fees to dead people, the sexual harassment scandals, multiple management cleanouts.
I use the word terminal decline, and I think that's how the market has viewed it.
But today, news that someone wants it. Ares Management Corporation, a US private equity firm.
Believe it or not, the brand has a lot of firepower, and whoever gets it at the current prices is going to be getting a bargain. This is about the most undervalued major financial asset in the world right now.
Australia's first life insurance company, it manages billions in our super funds.
In these critical times, who else could you turn to?
Its share price hit the skids 2 years ago. The Royal Commission, rolling resignations and harassment scandal wiped 75% of its worth. The embattled financial services giant is worth an estimated $5.3 billion, and analysts say if the sale does go through, it's possible the company will be broken up and sold. Either way, the share market loved the news. Shares up 22% at one stage, but AMP insists the offer is indicative, non-binding, conditional and very preliminary. In other words, it has a long way to go. Chris Reason, 7 News.
Hundreds of jobs are set to go after BP announced it will wind down operations at Kwinana. The energy giant's Western Australia refinery has been running for 65 years. The site will convert into an import terminal where it's expected 60 people will be employed. In a statement, BP Australia said, quote, "The refinery is no longer economically viable." 3 oil refineries have closed in Australia in the past decade. The Premier's department has been accused of trying to mislead Parliament to cover up a funding scandal. It's alleged government officials tried to stop the Premier's advisor, Sarah Law, appearing at an inquiry where she admitted crucial documents had been shredded.
The Premier has, through her department, on 2 separate occasions now, sought to mislead and misdirect the parliamentary inquiry.
The inquiry is investigating how Liberal councils were awarded millions in cash. A driver has been tasered by police in a dramatic takedown after leading them on a 45-minute chase through North Sydney. The man was spotted swerving his luxury car across a freeway before his joyride came to a crashing halt.
Chaos on the back streets of Chatswood. 3 police cars smashed by a man driving this white Range Rover, a 32-year-old desperate to escape.
That's pretty scary. It's usually a very safe area.
After leaving his car, police say he assaulted an officer before they finally stopped him with tasers.
The risks around an extreme accident obviously was rising. Police took action.
Around 5 this morning, police noticed the man driving dangerously on the wrong side of the Gore Hill Freeway. Throughout the 45-minute chase, he sped through Neutral Bay and Willoughby before police finally stopped him on Centennial Avenue in Chatswood, where he was stretchered into an ambulance. Police say he made a series of U-turns, looping back to taunt officers who'd stopped the chase a number of times due to safety concerns.
The manner of the driving was very dangerous. The risks around head-on collisions with those individuals was very high.
The man, who is known to police, is undergoing a mental health assessment and is expected to be hit with several charges, including dangerous driving and assaulting an officer. Remarkably, though, no one was injured. Tom Saker, 7 News.
Police are on the hunt for a man following a bloody brawl and stabbing at the Liverpool Mall overnight. A 22-year-old man was stabbed in the thigh with a flick knife after being confronted by 6 others. The attack happened just before 8 o'clock last night, right in front of stunned shoppers, with the group last seen running off through the Westfield shopping centre. The victim was taken to hospital. His injury is not life-threatening. It's believed he knew his assailants. Well, there's only days to go in America's race to the White House, and the red-hot battle to win Florida has gone up another degree. Rivals held duelling rallies, both plagued by weather, Donald Trump banking on a home advantage to keep the state that is crucial to victory.
Tampa, Florida.
Donald J. Trump.
Team Trump united on stage in a race so hot, fire crews provided crowd relief.
Oh, are they doing that on purpose? Are they friend or foe? Oh, look, they're hitting the press. That's okay.
Voters passing out, dropping in the heat.
So I'm thrilled to be here in our home state, Florida.
Writing off his rival in this must-win battleground.
Let's face it, Sleepy Joe is shot. He was never considered smart. He was a touchy-feely guy. You know those guys, touchy-feely. Running for the United States Senate, and I hope I have
In the same state, same time. Joe Biden fronted a socially distanced drive-in.
President Trump's super spreader events, and he's spreading more virus around the country.
At a second Florida event,
you're the ones who are going to save this country.
His final pitch of the day drowned out.
Let's not postpone and get out of the rain.
A state where weather is as unpredictable as the vote.
The president's narrow path to victory hinges largely on Florida and its 29 electoral college votes. Biden and Trump are neck and neck here in this state. There's still anyone's to win.
Florida goes blue. It's over.
While the president's next event was cancelled by wind, their approach in these final days couldn't be more stark. As new COVID data revealed, an American is testing positive almost every second.
You know the bottom line, though? You're going to get better. You're going to get better. If I can get better, anybody can get better, and I got better fast.
In Tampa, Florida, Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
New Zealanders voted to legalise euthanasia for people with a terminal illness. The country voted on the question in a referendum earlier this month during the general election. But while 65% said yes to assisted suicide, a vote on legalising cannabis looks set to be defeated. Preliminary numbers show 53% voted against the move. The final results won't be known until early next month. In a dramatic move, Central Coast Council's been suspended over its financial meltdown. Let's go live to Andrew Denning at State Parliament now. Andrew, hello to you. What triggered the move?
Well, the state of the Central Coast Council has been described as a train wreck after it was revealed it was unable to pay its staff with crippling debts of some $89 million. This afternoon, the state government stepped in, suspending the mayor and 14 councillors effective immediately. Interim administrators will now take over the running of council for at least the next 3 months as forensic accountants move in. A notice of suspension went out this afternoon, and already contact details for councillors have been pulled down from the council website. The opposition now says questions need to be asked at all levels as to how this organisation got into this mess in the first place.
Let's not forget that this government forcibly merged Gosford City Council and Wyong Council at a time they were already financially struggling.
Now, the government says that council's some 2,000 staff won't be affected by this suspension and will continue to be paid.
Andrew, thank you. A national fleet of firefighting aircraft is among some of the 80 recommendations of a major report into last summer's Black Summer bushfires. The Royal Commission also calling for a national emergency app and clear rules on hazard reduction by landowners.
Fires killed 33 people across Australia's east coast, destroyed 9,000 buildings, a $100 billion economic hit. And while a Royal Commission cannot stop fire, it can shape how we respond to it.
The real theme about the report is around risk reduction, preparedness, around response, relief, recovery.
Unprecedented is the first word of 594 pages. Tom Caneen fought his Black Summer at Balmoral Village. 1 in every 6 homes there burnt to the ground.
This one destroyed the place. I mean, you reckon we would have learnt how to deal with bushfires in this area.
That is what this report hopes to achieve. Among 80 recommendations, it calls for national emergency powers, shared technology and communications, a national emergency app and a shared approach to firefighting aircraft. In effect, an Australian firefighting air force.
The last thing people want to see is important reports handed down and ignored. We'll do the opposite. We'll make sure we take on the learnings because there's too much at stake.
Some experts believe Black Summer's biggest lesson is global warming.
We must deal with a fundamental problem that's driving this. That is climate change. There's no question now.
While climate policy was beyond its brief, the report notes climate-driven natural hazards are expected to become more frequent and intense.
Unless we deal with the root cause of climate change, which is burning fossil fuels, we're not going to deal with the root cause of the problem.
One recommendation will likely capture the attention of farmers more than any other, a subheading entitled Supporting Individuals to Make Good Decisions. It allows greater freedoms and clarity when it comes to hazard reduction of properties.
You should be able to look after your own property.
Robert Ovadia, 7 News.
Sydney's Hills District, Upper North Shore and Sutherland Shire are on storm damage alert after those regions topped the list of insurance claims over the past year. The figures, released by NRMA, show Castle Hill leading the way with 331 storm damage claims, while nearby Kellyville and Borkham Hills were not far behind. St Ives came in second, 282 claims there, while residents of Caringbah and Miranda combined for nearly 500 claims. The insurer says storm damage made up more than half of all home insurance claims during that period. 7-Eleven has been forced to pay $173 million after shortchanging more than 4,000 workers. The convenience store chain was found to have been underpaying staff and covering it up back in 2016. The Fair Work Ombudsman today praised 7-Eleven for implementing high-tech systems to prevent any future breaches, while also revealing just how much they'd been forced to repay. It is the missing link in our road network, and finally the ribbon has been cut on the long-awaited North Connects. The $3 billion twin tunnels will open to traffic tomorrow morning, connecting the M1 to the M2. But some drivers are already slamming the high cost of tolls and the fines.
Close to a year late, the $3 billion missing link on the way in and out of Sydney's north. North Connects winds 9 kilometres from the M2 at Carlingford North to the Pacific Highway at Wahroonga. The tunnel cuts out 40 sets of traffic lights and shaves 15 minutes from the Central Coast commute.
That daily commuter over the course of a year will get a week of their life back.
But it comes at a cost. For cars, an $8 toll each way. For trucks, nearly $24. The 9-kilometre twin tunnels will allow drivers to bypass one of the city's most hated roads. But for truckies, they won't have a choice. From tomorrow, if they're caught by the new cameras along Pennant Hills Road, they'll be fined $124. Truck drivers say the yearly cost will be crippling.
Roughly somewhere between $40,000 and $60,000, mate, just like that.
Rob Woolley from Mount Ku-ring-gai now forced to use the tunnel and pay the tolls up to 6 times a day to get to the city.
If there's so many benefits for transport operators to use the tunnel, and that's what's being sold to us, why make it compulsory?
When 1 in 4 accidents on Pennant Hills Road involve a truck, we've got to take action.
The tunnel will open to traffic in the early hours of tomorrow morning. Cameron Price, 7 News.
Now, Angie Asmus joins us with a look at the forecast. Angie, good evening. Some more wet weather for Sydney.
Yes, Michael, today's return to sunshine was very brief. Severe storms picked up over the inland parts of New South Wales this afternoon. They first developed over central districts, followed by the Riverina and southwest slopes. You'll see that low is tracking east. When it reaches the metro region, the heaviest falls will be on the coast. We should start to see that wet weather pick up late tonight. Ahead of the change, temperatures were fairly comfortable today. We reached a top of 31 degrees at Coonamble, 28 for Griffith and 21 was the top at Canberra. But when the rain arrives, it will stick around for much of the weekend. So 2-day totals will amount to an average of 40 millimetres on top of what we recorded earlier this week. But I will have your comprehensive weekend forecast very soon, Michael.
Thank you, Angie. He collapsed on the field and died during a rugby league game in the state's far north. After the break, the crucial 6 minutes. Could Grant Cook's tragic death have been avoided? Also, into the danger zone, police brave flames to search for survivors. Off the rails, the moment a freight train crashes carrying dangerous chemicals. Later, starved of sunlight, the serious medical condition affecting 1 in 5 women. How you can spot the symptoms. And soon in sport, the hangover, Munster style, the Maroon Star, ready to play the Blues.
7 News brought to you by Industry Super Funds.
Pretty soon, the amount of super paid on top of our wages will go up. And up. And up. And up. All the way to 12% guaranteed. That extra money will make a big difference when I retire. Put my feet up. You see, your future is even more super.
Not one woman has got across this. So today I want to make it that day.
Be the first. Be the first.
Absolutely shredded my nuts. Do not let go of that rope. Get up there.
This is the course of finding out how much grit and determination they really have.
SAS Australia, Monday 7:30 on 7.
At Plush Sofas, we're celebrating our 20th birthday with up to 50% off and 48 months interest-free. Shop in showroom or online.
It's important businesses have a COVID safety plan in place to support staff, so they only go to work if they are well and have no COVID-19 symptoms. By doing this, you're helping protect customers, staff and your business.
Why choose Bupa? Because you'll get 6 weeks free when you join on eligible products. Because who doesn't want to save a little more? Call 134 135 to find out more. T's and C's apply.
This spring, Ladbroke multi-legs with runners from the same race, and if any of them get up, you win. Ladbrokes, back yourself.
So, love, there's only that robot costume left. Oh, this one.
Make the choice easy with Toyota. Get the improved Prado, now with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, plus more power. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
A driver's on the run after smashing into a power pole at Peakhurst overnight. Officers arrived just before 1:30 to find a Mitsubishi Mirage wrapped around the pole, but the driver, also like a Mirage, had disappeared. Police are now searching for the female driver as investigations continue there. A motorbike cop has rushed into a burning home in Perth with reports a resident was trapped inside. The officer was first on the scene. His body cam there captured his search through the smoke and the flames. Now, luckily, a woman was found in the backyard. She'd managed to escape the house but could not get out of the garden. She was distressed but not physically hurt. It took firefighters more than an hour to bring that blaze under control. New South Wales Ambulance is reviewing its procedures after the heartbreaking death of a dedicated family man. Father of 2, Grant Cook, died after a head knock while playing rugby league in northern New South Wales. His family say his life could have been saved.
For Grant Cook's family, it's a haunting question. Could his death have been prevented? Grant's father believes he'd still be alive today if help arrived faster.
All those things that could have saved Grant's life didn't happen.
It was September 2016 when the father of 2 was playing before he was caught in a bad tackle. He left the field but collapsed on the sidelines, having a cardiac arrest. Paramedics took him to hospital where he died in the early hours of the following day.
They made some incorrect assumptions and they said, we're not going to launch the helicopter because he's probably going to die anyway.
The coroner today recommending improved awareness of head injuries for paramedics and everyone involved, from players and referees to parents and spectators. Another recommendation is for Grant's Law, where New South Wales paramedics would study Grant Cook's case so that 000 call takers can give better clinical advice in those precious minutes after a head injury to prevent anyone else suffering the same fate. In a statement, New South Wales Rugby League said it will give careful consideration to further education, as the coroner recommends.
Well, I guess for Grant, we're there at the beginning and here we are at the end.
Evan Batten, 7 News.
A train carrying dangerous chemicals has derailed in Texas, forcing thousands of residents out of their homes and local schools to be evacuated. A driver captured the moment the freight train left the tracks. It was near the Louisiana border. The train was carrying an unknown corrosive product. The British Labor Party has suspended its former leader, Jeremy Corbyn, after he downplayed a damning report into the party's handling of anti-Semitism complaints while he was in charge. Mr Corbyn claimed the accusations had been dramatically overstated for political reasons. The party's current leader, Sir Keir Starmer, has accepted the findings of the Human Rights Commission investigation, calling it, quote, a day of shame for Labor. As Brazil battles one of the worst coronavirus outbreaks in the world, theatres have been allowed to reopen with some special safety precautions. Actors wearing face masks performed to the audience sitting in small plastic tents. This play in Sao Paulo was also performed at an outdoor car park. Wild chase has been captured inside a Texas high school. Have a look at that. A raccoon leading staff and wildlife officers through the halls of the school near Dallas. They eventually cornered the critter, but it was too quick. Gave them the slip. The animal finally escaping through an open door. Good result for him. It's one of Australia's most baffling cold cases. A little girl snatched from a beach near Wollongong. Next, the new court decision that's left Cheryl Grimmer's family devastated. Plus, forgotten victims of the pandemic, the new threat to thousands of Sydney families. How these colourful chalk drawings sparked a bitter neighbourhood dispute. And Taronga's residents get an early taste of Halloween. That is next.
Chili's so hot right now.
Here's the secret to growing the crop that's the envy of the neighbourhood.
Oh!
On Better Homes, next up on 7.
Get $4,000 to spend on that special thing for the house. Refinance your home loan with St George and get $4,000 cash back to spend on whatever you like. Search St George Home Loans or ask your broker today.
All you need to launch a culinary empire. A Squarespace website where you can brag about how you never went to culinary school. A divisive signature ingredient. Tools you claim everyone has in their kitchen.
They don't.
And an email newsletter to share your best recipes until you land that book deal.
The cane pub style are too good to play second fiddle. From now on, chips will come with a side of mains. We'll have chips and fish shops and we'll ask,
would you like burgers with that?
because these chips are the main event. Oh, McCain, you've done it again.
Sun Super is one of Australia's largest and best superannuation funds, awarded both Super Ratings and Chant West 2020 Super Fund of the Year. Join our 1.4 million members and feel the strength of Sun Super.
The game that makes the most millionaires is giving you 20 million more reasons to get super excited this Saturday. Lotto's $20 million Super Draw Saturday. Play now in-store at thelot.com or the Lot app.
Get up to 55% off the big betting brands now at Domain. Yes, up to 55% off selected Sealy, Sleepmaker, King Coil and Dunlop mattresses and ensembles. Temper Queen mattresses from only $1,988. Plus your Tempo bonus. Thermal Cool Luxury Quilt plus Thermal Cool Mattress Protector Pack. Spend over $9.99 on any mattress purchase. We'll give you bonus delivery. Plus get 60 months interest free with bonus gift cards up to $500. Save on the big betting brands now at Domain.
$3,000 would be great.
Get a great variable rate and $3,000 cash back when you move your home loan to Westpac. Switching pays. Search Westpac Refinance today.
Creating something that feels just right. That's an art. It needs just the right amount of room to move. Elegant lines, a unique flow. Precisely crafted and beautifully finished. So when you try it, well, you just know. All new Mazda CX-30. Everything just right.
Welcome back. Well, first it was pubs and clubs. Now you'll be asked to scan a QR code in taxis. After a successful trial, 1,000 Sydney cabs are carrying the stickers, with more on the way. They will capture the date, time and location of your ride to help COVID tracing.
Happy days. See a COVID safe sticker on a taxi, you can ensure it is COVID safe.
The trial was initiated after a COVID positive taxi driver sparked a wave of alerts last month. Convicted drug smuggler Michael Ibrahim has been arrested while behind bars at Goulburn Supermax. The youngest of the Ibrahim brothers has been charged over death threats he allegedly made against his own sister and her children. Michael Ibrahim is serving 30 years for his role in an international drug ring. He'll face court on new charges in December. It has been a turbulent few days for the Ibrahim family, with the eldest sibling, Sam, deported from New South Wales yesterday. There's been yet another setback for the grief-stricken family of Cheryl Grimmer. After waiting more than a year, the coroner says that she is powerless to call a second inquest into the toddler's death. Adding to the family's torment, the news arrived on the eve of Cheryl's birthday.
At the plaque unveiled 50 years after her disappearance, today flowers and a birthday card, but for her family there's only fresh pain.
To receive more bad news, timing just couldn't be worse.
A Melbourne man was due to face trial in February last year over the murder of Cheryl Grimmer after she went missing from a Wollongong beach in 1970.
You knew things about her only the killer could have known.
But despite making a detailed confession at the time, it was ruled inadmissible and the case against him collapsed. Last September, Cheryl's family applied to have a second coronial inquest look at all the evidence.
Why did they take another 13 months? Don't they think we've waited long enough, 50 years?
But yesterday, on the eve of what would have been Cheryl's 54th birthday, this from the coroner. I have no power to order a fresh inquest. You don't have standing to make such an application. Since the case against the only person charged over Cheryl Grimmer's death collapsed, unsolved homicide detectives have taken over, carrying out a major case review. But what's next? So far, Cheryl's family has heard nothing. New South Wales Police has told 7 News the major case review is now underway.
I want him behind bars, where he belongs.
Evan Batten, 7 News.
A second gangland figure has been sensationally cleared in the wake of Melbourne's Lawyer X scandal. After almost a decade behind bars, Zlate Zetanovsky was this morning acquitted of all drug trafficking charges. The court found there had been a substantial miscarriage of justice. The decision puts other notorious criminals, including Tony Mockbell, one step closer to freedom. A man has stripped down to his underwear and waded into the pool of reflection at Hyde Park's Anzac Memorial and posted that image online. It's prompted an angry response from Veterans Minister Jeff Lee, saying he's appalled, calling the act unacceptable and highly disrespectful. The man in the image is yet to be identified. COVID has seen a surge in homelessness as jobless or underemployed tenants struggle to pay their rent. But some say a win-win solution is to build more social housing, creating jobs and putting roofs over heads.
Social housing tenant Estelle Borry's modified home means vital independence, given priority, but it took years for a place. At least it was planned. Others don't see the need coming.
They lose their job. It can happen just, in a blink of an eye for anyone.
Like single mother Natasha, a social housing tenant after being left homeless with a baby by a marriage breakup.
It takes you out of the survival mode and just surviving into being able to actually live again.
But 50,000 people are on the waiting list. That's before COVID and rising unemployment.
More people approaching us for housing in dire circumstances.
We're just not building enough homes to go anywhere near
meeting the needs. In most places, the waiting lists are up to 5 and 10 years.
Proposing a 10-year multi-billion-dollar building plan for new dwellings, 5,000 more social houses annually, creating 13,500 jobs.
This is about jobs, and what's beautiful about social housing, it's quick to put on site. It's not a bridge or a tunnel.
Because of the economic damage being caused by COVID, the social housing sector says it provides the perfect response to two critical needs: boosting jobs and putting roofs over people's heads. Demanding urgent action in next month's state budget. Chris Marr, 7 News.
A Melbourne woman who tried to lighten the lockdown mood with some chalk drawings has been slammed in an angry letter. Despite the footpath art bringing plenty of joy, one anonymous local was ticked off, calling it pretentious.
I just did it just to make them happy, you know, just to see the kids' smiles as they walk past.
She says the grumpy writer won't deter her from making other people smile. Russell Drysdale's renowned 1941 artwork, Going to Pictures, is expected to fetch a record $3.5 million when it goes to auction for the first time since it was purchased, and that was almost 80 years ago. The picture has remained in the same family since Clive Turnbull bought it at the Macquarie Galleries exhibition way back in 1942. Animals at Taronga Zoo have joined the spooky spirit on the eve of Halloween. Some of the residents, including the gorillas there, tiger clubs and bilbies, played with some jack-o'-lanterns. The pumpkins were specially carved with challenges facing the species, including disease and poaching. Well, close to 70,000 Australians now rely on it to control chronic pain. Coming up, we have an exclusive look inside the lab, turning marijuana into medicine. Also, from one-way to racetrack, why these sports cars have taken over Sydney Airport. Plus, the #1 health issue affecting women under 40 and why 2020 could be to blame.
In sport, the biggest waves on the planet, even bigger tonight. They're spectacular and terrifying.
And today's sunshine will be replaced with rain clouds tomorrow. All the weekend weather details coming up.
This will be a game night to remember.
Oh boy.
Someone in this room is going to be taken.
Oh, it's a murder mystery part.
You're not going to know what's real.
That was really good.
And what's fake.
I'm confused. So this isn't the end of this whole thing? This gun real?
The premiere of Game Night, tonight on 7.
People are not like cars. Cars are easy. You put them in drive and they go. People are complicated. Cars don't have confusing rituals. Cars don't get all emotional. Cars don't have teenagers.
I think that was the car.
At My Car, we don't just look after cars, we look after the people who drive them. My Car Tyre and Auto. People first.
My fellow punters, you can now bet on the US election with Sportsbet. A lot of people have been telling me there's this thing called Trump Hub, which is a tremendous name, by the way, where you can find many, many markets all in the one place. Frankly, it's unbelievable, except for one thing. You can also bet on Joe Biden to win. Fake news, folks, believe me. Bet on the US election with Sportsbet.
$3,000 would be great.
Get a great variable rate and $3,000 cash back when you move your home loan to Westpac. Switching pays. Search Westpac Refinance today.
You gotta love free pizza, and all you gotta do to get it is download the Domino's app and make a delivery order. A free large pizza with your next delivery order. Happy days. Only at Domino's. Bring it in.
Fetch ESPN. Fetch Discovery. Fetch them all on one simple menu. All your entertainment, easy. Fetch.
Are we there yet? Are we thinking of the planet? Are we helping people move? So, are we there yet?
Every day we move closer. Oh, what a feeling, Toyota.
Let's do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Get PointsBet's new racing form from RaceNet. PointsBet offers you won't believe, moments you'll never forget.
It's Australian to stick together through ups and downs.
It's super to know that Australia's largest super fund is investing for you like no other fund can. It's yours, your money for your future with Australian Super.
Having a quick look at finance, the share market suffered its worst week since late April, losing 30 points in final minutes of trade today. Uncertainty over COVID and the pending US election dragged some sectors down. $1 Australian is buying closer to 70 US cents. Fuel prices continue to fall, which is good news. The average is around $1.06, but it's selling for under 93 cents at Sydenham tonight. Foreign Minister Maurice Payne is still waiting on the report from the Qatari government following that incident at Doha Airport earlier this month. At least 13 Australian women were subjected to invasive medical examinations without their consent after a newborn baby was abandoned in an airport bin. The minister had been assured a report would be finalised this week. However, the government is yet to receive one. The pandemic has cut passenger traffic at Sydney Airport by a staggering 97%. Allowing Australia's busiest runway, have a look at this, to be converted into a pseudo racetrack. These were the scenes this morning, overlooking Botany Bay as Porsche launched its latest 911 Turbo S sports car. As you can hear, it packs a punch from 0 to 100 kilometres an hour in 2.7 seconds. Can you believe that? With a top speed more than 3 times that. Well, prescription cannabis, it is becoming increasingly common as the treatment of choice for patients battling pain, even anxiety and depression. Local manufacturers are few and far between, and they're run off their feet as demand skyrockets through the pandemic.
Father of 2, Simon Sweeting, lives with a fractured spine and nerve damage. He was on 15 pills a day for decades before his doctor prescribed a few drops of cannabis oil.
The pain was debilitating and probably couldn't function most of the day. I can function and I can get to work now and spend time with my family.
The number of prescriptions for medicinal cannabis has surged during recent months. The Therapeutic Goods Administration approving the use of cannabis medicines for more than 6,000 new patients last month alone.
We're seeing this globally actually. There's a bit of phenomena where we're seeing growth sort of 20-odd%.
Manufacturer Australian Natural extracting what they say is liquid gold since 2015. Demand for its cannabis-based products quadrupling within months.
There's no limit necessarily to the amount of or the type of condition that cannabis is prescribable for.
Even treating things like anxiety and depression. The local industry is highly regulated by the federal government. There are only 32 licensed producers in the entire country, with most medicines imported from Canada. An industry in its infancy, and doctors are still cautious, calling for more research. But for Simon, like many desperate patients,
it's changed my life in a very major way.
Serena Andaloro, 7 News.
In some breaking news now, Cabramatta High School has been closed after a pupil tested positive for COVID. The school will now undergo deep cleaning over the weekend with contact tracing to identify potentially infected staff and students. A decision's not been made on when it will reopen, with HSC students to be advised on the arrangements over the weekend. There's an urgent health warning tonight for millions of Australian women, especially busy mums. While it can be debilitating, the good news is it is easy to treat and very simple to detect. So, what to ask your doctor? Don't miss that advice soon here on 7 News. But first, Matt is here with Sports Shervo. Good evening to you. There is a storm giant lining up the Blues.
Evening, Michael. Yes, that is right. They call him Big Tino, and he's appointed himself as the Maroons' hitman. All the Origin latest next, as Cameron Munster tells Blues fans, don't even think about winning 3-0. And Ricky Stewart's special connection to tomorrow's $7.5 million Golden Eagle.
You're invited to the massive primetime event. Together, they should be unbeatable.
Australia's most formidable brainiacs.
Who's brave enough to take them on all at once?
$150,000.
This is Australia's greatest quiz challenge. Play along and you could be sharing in $50,000.
Game on.
Beat the Chasers. Sunday at 7 on 7.
At Harvey Norman, time to refresh your home with pre-Christmas delivery on a great range of furniture. Lounges made for lazy days at home with the family, with options in fabric and leather, recliners and sofa beds, home theatre features and more. Dining furniture to host family and friends in comfort and style. Plus, entertainment units, storage ideas and a range of bar stools to suit every need. Order before the 19th of November for guaranteed pre-Christmas delivery. Get it on 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card. Now at Harvey Norman.
On all Australian and selected international racing codes. Find it now in the Ladbrokes race car. Ladbrokes. Back yourself.
Right now at Cbus, we're building a new future. By building new projects and investing millions into Australian businesses, we're not only helping to create jobs, we're strengthening the economy for all of us.
It's tough out there, Australia. Every cent counts. Make sure your insurance is about where you're at right now. You could save lots. Yui, you insured. It's car and home insurance for individuals like you.
As the world's energy needs grow, we'll need multiple sources of power, like wind power. But to do that, we'll need more copper. Like the copper proudly produced by the men and women of BHP. Because it's the 4 tonnes of copper in each and every wind turbine that makes it possible to turn wind power into electric power. Think big.
Get your woolies worth this Halloween with Mars medium 12 to 18 packs or Cadbury medium 144 to 180 gram share packs, now just $2.50 each.
That's why I pick Woolies.
This spring, Ladbrokes is changing the way you multi. With our new split and blended features, load up your multi-legs with runners from the same race, and if any of them get up, you win. Ladbrokes. Back yourself.
This sport report brought to you by Ladbrokes. Back yourself this spring carnival.
Welcome back. Cameron Munster's reported for Origin duty with a clear head and a message for the Blues. If you're thinking 3-0, think again. While the Blues rally around Nathan Cleary, the Storm's superstar insists there'll be no premiership hangover.
From a 4-day premiership bender to an appearance in the team photo that's become fodder for many memes, one good night's sleep has Queensland's mercurial Mr Munster ready to go again.
There's a lot of stuff going viral at the moment, but no, there's no head noise at all. I've got nothing to worry about. Party's a party, and I'm just business as usual.
Munster's arrived with Tino Fa'asur Maliawi, the Storm giant, giving new meaning to big-name rookie.
I can't wait to get out there and try to match it against them, and I'll try to intimidate them.
There's a premiership winner in the Blues camp too, but Josh Addo-Carr will only mention it to tell Nathan Cleary, don't blame yourself for the Panthers' defeat.
I reckon he's going to have a career like Jonathan Thurston, in my opinion. He's a super player.
Just let him know I got his back, man. Through how many years I get to play with him, he'll definitely be one of the best players I'll get to play with.
The Blues are so spoilt for choice they could leave out the likes of Jerome Luai and Stephen Crichton.
For me, this is just another opportunity to show what I'm made of.
Happy to be here, happy to vibe with the boys, and happy to take it all in.
With little depth and 8 rookies, the Maroons have been written off before the series even begins in Adelaide.
I wouldn't be crying about 3-0 this yet. I'll do everything I can to make it at least 80 to 90% right for Wednesday.
To be clear, he's talking about his knee. Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
Michael Hooper says it's time for a generation of Wallabies to stop wasting chances and put an end to an 18-year Bledisloe Cup drought. They must beat the All Blacks at ANZ Stadium tomorrow night to stay in contention this year.
I'm not focused about history, I'm focused about tomorrow, mate. And we've got a really good opportunity.
Hooper says there's a plan to protect rookie midfield duo Noah Lolesio and Ire Simone. Justin Langer wants to consult Adam Goodes and other Indigenous leaders on how to form the Australian cricket team's Black Lives Matter response. They were criticised for not taking a knee on their England tour.
I want to hear it from people who have experienced racial discrimination. Well, I haven't. So I want to hear it from people and what the best way forward is, mate.
And the Blues are toiling on day one of their Shield clash with Queensland. Marnus Labuschagne is 113 and the Bulls are 6 for 262. Big wave experts and the madmen who rode them are trying to figure out if we've just seen the biggest day of big wave surfing of all time. The swell hitting Portugal's famed Nazaré break was estimated at 70 feet or 21.3 metres. But measuring these monsters can be as hard as riding them. There were some frightening wipeouts and desperate rescues. Everyone survived to tell the stories that will become folklore. If a horse named Sierra Sue wins tomorrow's $7.5 million Golden Eagle, Ricky Stewart will celebrate it like a Raiders grand final win. His charity's been chosen as the mayor's partner, and the prize money will launch a big new project.
After an 850-kilometre road trip from Melbourne to Sydney, Sierra Sue is ready.
It looks like she's gone off the float in good order, travelled up here quite nicely.
Trent Busserton and his partner Natalie Young would normally have chosen tomorrow's Empire Rose Stakes at Flemington, but Sydney's riches have changed racing's landscape.
She'll obviously only be for once, and it's $7.5 million, so it's plenty of reasons to get up there.
Just about every Canberra supporter in the country will be riding her home to support the Ricky Stewart Foundation, who've become the official charity partner, worth just over $400,000 in prize money if Sierra Sue wins.
A wonderful privilege to not only have it for the foundation, but to have some type of involvement in such a special race.
Stewart told 7 News the money will fund a much-needed new project.
A block of land that John Barilaro has helped us with to build our third house for, and our last two houses have been respite centres for children living with disabilities. This house is going to be now for disabled adults.
With the Raiders set to focus on next season, Ricky's proud to be a part of two sports that fought hard to remain on the world stage throughout the pandemic.
Peter V'landys has showed great leadership, and it's marvellous to have our major events still available to run.
Michelle Bishop, 7 News.
And this is the Golden Eagle Trophy, a $150,000 masterpiece by Chironi Jewellers. I mean, it is understated, isn't it, Michael? I mean, where would you put something like this if you won it?
Well, Trevor, if you're feeling flashy, you could bolt it to the bonnet of your car, I guess. Not too sure it'd last long in the car park at Coles, but you could give it a go.
Worth more than the car.
It's a good trophy. Good on you. Thanks, man. Well, women are being urged to check their iron levels, with experts warning lifestyle changes during COVID could be contributing to dangerous deficiencies. 7 News has done the research to find out the best ways you can boost your iron intake.
It's a common complaint to doctors, particularly working mums, fatigue. But an iron deficiency could be to blame.
It's actually much more common than we think, and Australia's got a lot of it.
Over a third of reproductive age women suffer from an iron deficiency. Clinical nutritionist Sarah Di Lorenzo says it's a surprise diagnosis for many.
They're shocked because they often think that they've got a healthy diet, or they think that their diet's balanced.
The most common symptoms include fatigue, shortness of breath, pale skin, headaches and dizziness. Some may also experience heart palpitations and cold hands and feet. A simple blood test will detect an iron deficiency.
First of all, we've got to replace the iron, and we can do that with a diet, with tablets, with iron via the vein.
Foods high in iron include red meat, chicken and seafood. Other alternatives, leafy greens, beans, nuts and seeds. But to absorb the iron, you need a good daily intake of vitamin C. Capsicum, kiwi fruit and strawberries can help boost absorption. Health experts are urging us to watch what we eat and drink during the pandemic, with unlikely culprits such as drinking more tea and coffee potentially contributing to an iron deficiency.
Coffee and tea can block the absorption of iron.
Don't put up with feeling sluggish, feeling tired, feeling under the weather. Go to your doctor, get a test, because it could be really easy to fix it up.
Ashley Hansen, 7 News.
Her birth made headlines around the world, and now the little girl known as the surprise baby is celebrating a milestone, one that Mum can actually plan for this time. Erin Langmay didn't know she was pregnant until she delivered Isla at home at 37 weeks. No signs, symptoms, even a baby bump, but now little Isla is turning 1.
A lot of things could have gone wrong, and we feel really blessed, and we don't take that lightly.
The statistics suggest that 1 in 2,500 women do not find out they're pregnant until they're actually giving birth. Well, coming up, Angie Asmus has the forecast. Angie, hello again. We're expecting to wake up to very different conditions tomorrow.
And Michael, the sunshine will be no more. Instead, expect a weekend of showers and storms on the way. Details next.
Sydney's storm surges, the new weather warning, plus Boomtown. Sydney's spring property forecast keeps getting better. Weekend sunrise, 7 a.m.
Sometimes you just have to say no. So when you say yes, it means a lot. Kinder Chocolate comes in little bars with lots of taste, so it's perfect for saying yes to at treat time. Kinder Chocolate, a little means a lot.
We want you to celebrate your transformation. Share your Dulux project at dulux.com.au and win. Take on anything and celebrate.
Open amazing at Lexhibition with a 1.9% comparison rate across a selected range of Lexus vehicles. Contact your Lexus dealer today.
Get $4,000 to spend on that special thing for the house. Refinance your home loan with St George and get $4,000 cash back to spend on whatever you like. Search St George Home Loans or ask your...
Sometimes, even the best tenants can cause damage to your investment property that standard building insurance may not cover. Terry Shear, Australia's leading landlord insurance specialist, provides the cover you need for your property and rental income. Have confidence that your investment property is in safe hands.
My property portfolio is protected by Terry Shear. I wouldn't trust anyone else.
Call Terry Shear or go online.
Bye, Cocky. Bye-bye.
Finally. The way I see it, you've got two options in life. Settle for what you're given, or speak up for what you deserve. Cricket! Got him! Winter is coming. See ya. Show me DiCaprio movies. You said it, Leo. Foxtel, now with voice control.
Chicken and coffee?
Yep, coffee.
Who'd have thought it could be the perfect flavour match?
These smell so good.
But this will blow your taste buds.
It's a sensory overload.
And just wait for how we reinvent pork chops.
Oh, how could you not love that, eh?
On Better Homes, next up on 7.
Could happen to anyone. A freak traffic accident. Now the insurance fight for the help she needs. The Great Greenslip Scandal. 7 News, Monday.
Tonight's 7 News headlines: shut out. Queensland rules Sydney-siders will remain banned from entering the state. Fury from families and airlines after an election eve decision. A terrorist targets people at church in a horrific beheading attack. The French president vows his nation's values will not waver. A driver tasered after leading police on a chase through North Sydney. He was seen swerving across a freeway before coming to a crashing halt. And a national fleet of firefighting aircraft, one of the many recommendations after last year's Black Summer bushfires. Now Angie's back with the latest on Sydney's soggy weekend ahead, Ange.
Thank you, Michael. Yes, the rain is fast approaching. We should see a change in Sydney late this evening with the heaviest falls after midnight. So far, the highest total statewide is 50 millimetres at Tumbarumba in the south. Under the beautiful blue sky today, we reached a top of 24.7 degrees in the CBD, so nice and warm. It was a cooler start to the day, though, with a low of 12.8. To the suburbs, lovely day, top of 25 degrees at Camden. 25 was also the top at Manly. Parramatta reached 23, Katoomba 18. Now, the latest satellite data shows a low bringing gusty winds, rain and storms across New South Wales. The current storm warning area in yellow here takes in most inland centres and is spreading further east. Tomorrow, that system will bring continued wet weather, but the focus very much will be the east with localised heavy falls right along the coastal fringe. So let's pick up the current radar. You can see wet weather approaching from the west here. That rain band will increase in intensity as it progresses east. eastwards tonight. Interstate this weekend, Brisbane similar stormy conditions, top of 31. Canberra also expecting wet weather, a shower or two starting to clear for Melbourne, staying fine for Hobart and Adelaide. Perth partly cloudy, 25. Darwin another warm one, 35 degrees and settled. For New South Wales, the wet weather starts to clear the far west, with rain and storms persisting across the rest of the state. So around 10 millimetres forecast for centres like Parkes and Bathurst. On the coast, much heavier. We could see around 40 millimetres in centres like Wollongong. So for the metro suburbs, showers will develop tonight with the odd storm embedded as well. We could see another 30 to 60 millimetres of rain, heaviest on the coast. Under the clouds, tops, well, they're not going to make it past the low to mid-20s. On our waters, winds will tend northeasterly to southeasterly up to 30 knots. By evening, they'll change direction, tending west-southwesterly. With those gusty showers, wind warnings are in place as well tomorrow, and they span the length of the coastline, although the south coast here will cop the brunt of it. Closer to home, rain periods during the morning and afternoon across the city, possibly 30 to 60 millimetres and a top of 22. The week ahead, continuing showers for us on Sunday, although they are going to be much lighter, followed by a run of clear days midweek, a warm one on Wednesday, then just a couple of light showers redeveloping towards next weekend, but it is another washout tomorrow.
Oh, I can see a lot of kids' sport cancelled in the morning.
Absolutely.
All right, Angie, thank you for that. That is 7 News for this Friday. We'll have updates for you throughout the evening. Sunrises from 7. I'm Michael Usher. Thanks for your company. Have a great Friday night.